Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our international in the big event, the second Mitra Husada Health International Conference, Sekolah Tinggi Ilmu Kesehatan Mitra Husada Medan, Indonesia. We say thank you and welcome back to all the participants and also our guests from Savannakhet, Laos. Thank you for coming back in this international conference.
Well, we will continue our presentation from the keynote speakers. There is the material from Madam Agita Pasaribu, SH, MA. We're waiting for the presenter to prepare. To the moderator, Madam Eka Valentina Tarigan, MCUP, time is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Madam Agita Pasaribu, can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay,
Clear and loud,
Madam.
Yeah, can you hear me well?
Madam, please wait for 10 minutes, yeah, Madam. We will prepare for student and for participant, Madam.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Madam. My name is Eka Valentina Tarigan, SSTM CAP, and I as moderate for the Madam Agita Pasaribu. And this is CV for Madam Agita Pasaribu, SH LLB MA. I will read the CV. Madam Agita Pasaribu is currently the founder of Buline application. Yeah, an online platform that provides a safe space to help you identify, gives action guidance, connect you to relevant support, and encourage victims of online abuse and domestic violence to report their issues. Bullying dedication to bring equality and justice accessible for everyone by raising awareness toward mental health and law enforcement. Madam Agita has been advocating for progressive related policies at various diplomatic and international forums to promote the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Prior to founding Buline, Agita has contributed to youth empowerment initiative both nation and internationally for over a decade. She has co-founded with Kuliah, Instilling Learning for Malaysia Unity, led several Internet Day celebration in countries and youth EGF movement in over 13 countries. Her biggest interests are utilizing technology to solve the social issue worldwide and benefiting the most vulnerable in society. Madam Agita's contribution and commitment to youth empowerment has been recognized and celebrated globally. She has been advocating to the UN, ITU, and WHO and how artificial intelligence can be used to detect early symptoms of mental health illness on social media and to reduce cyberbullying case. Okay, I have read CV of Madam Agita Pasaribu. For this session, Madam, we will give you time to present your material 45 minutes, and for a question we will give one session with a maximum 2 or 3 questions, madam. Okay, madam, we will start. Are you ready, madam? Okay. Time is your,
Okay.
madam.
Right. Thank you very much, moderator, for sharing the CV. I think I will share my PowerPoint if it's okay. I will share myself. Okay. So thank you very much again, and good afternoon, everyone. I was being thought to basically share this session, mixture English and Bahasa, but I think I spot our colleagues from Laos who might not be able to understand Bahasa Indonesia. So I will be trying to share in English. In case if there is any terminology or if there's any word or statement that you might not really understand, feel free to raise hand, feel free to leave your questions in Bahasa on the chat box, and I'll be happy to translate it. Okay. Now, before I begin to our discussion, I would like to congratulate the committee for celebrating or for presenting the webinar today for the second Mitra Husada Health International Conference. And thank you very much for inviting me as a speaker. In this webinar, basically, I will be sharing about child sexual exploitation online and the impact of mental health. Just to give you a little bit of background about me. So my name is Agita Pasaribu, and I'm the founder and currently an executive director of Bullied App. So Bullied App is basically a web-based platform where we started very, very early, which is when COVID-19 lockdown hits Indonesia. So the idea of this Bullied App is basically to digitalize the way how we provide psychological and legal support for the victims or survivors of cyber harassment. So we know that the increased numbers of cyber harassment, cyberbullying, we work online, we studying online, so we spend so much time online. So the latest statistic basically mentions that there is an increase up to 300% of cyber harassment that is happening in our country. So that's a very simple idea of what we do with Bullied App. You can even access it if you want it. If you know anyone who are experienced cyberbullying or cyber harassment who needs help psychologically or legally, we are online every day, basically on Monday to Sunday. We do basically have psychologists, we have trained volunteers as well to help you. And then one of our trained volunteers is also helping you for free as well. So in case if you need any help in terms of psychological and legal support, feel free to reach out through bullied.org. I see 3 hands. Does anyone would like to ask questions before we're moving forward? Ibu Imelda? Ibu Imelda, do you want to ask the question or?
Yes, madam. Ibu Eka, madam.
Yeah, I see 3 hands, 3 raising hands. I thought maybe, is there anyone want to ask the questions before we're moving forward?
Oh, okay. They not to ask some question, maybe some information from us. Thank you, madam.
Okay, right. So now we're talking about the child sexual exploitations on social media. As you aware, the foundation, which is the Yayasan of Bullied App, basically when we are working, when we're receiving a lot of cases in Indonesia, some of them is also coming from children. Now, we do realize that majority of this issue is also happening in Indonesia and as well as globally. For your information, that 1 in 3 internet user is actually a child, and more than 175,000 children go online for the first time every day. So this is a global data that we have. And globally, children and young people are the major users of an internet. As we know, the technology has created possibilities for children to be connected and to access information, but they also become more vulnerable to its harmful aspect. And the danger is increased due to the lack of protection for the children. I think we know that many of the children is just left by using their phone, by using iPad or any tablet without any supervised by the guardians or the parents. And what I think it's really important as well is by be able to design an effective measures against those threats and dangers that could potentially impact our children's mental health and well-being. So this is quite necessary to have an in-depth understanding of children activities online, especially for you as future health practitioners, because there is a huge link between physical pain or physical illness and mental health illness. As we know that some of the cases that happening on children and young people, sometimes they won't be able to actually say what is happening to them. So I think it's quite important for you, even though you study for being a nurse or being a practitioner in health, but it's also important for you to understand the mental health aspect, that majority could be a trigger for their physical pain. Next one. So we discussed about the child sexual exploitations, but maybe some of you was not really aware of what is exactly the child sexual exploitations, especially the one that happening online. So online child sexual exploitation refers to the usage of the internet of communication technologies as a method to facilitate the sexual abuse of children or adolescents or young people, basically. So children in Indonesia is classified as those who are below 18 years old or have not been married. Okay, so there is a chunk of kids, basically sometimes who's below 10 years old, and then from 10 to 17 years old, we call it young people or teenagers or adolescents. And this online child sex exploitation, it not entirely have to be implemented or have to be happening only online, and this can take place directly online and through combination as well of offline and online interactions. Now, let's discuss a little bit of an examples of the child sexual exploitation online. The first one that is normally quite happening and quite a lot is the grooming. So grooming is basically when someone tried to get close to you and they will then use a different tactic. So you will feel that they want to be friends with you in the beginning, but in the end, there is something they want to ask you for more. It could be other sexual activity, it could be a nude picture, it could be doing a video sex and so on. And in compliments, by providing that, they sometimes giving a gift, they're sometimes giving a money as well, and it could potentially becoming a blackmailing. So online grooming is something that is very difficult for children to understand if they're being target of online grooming. So when a children goes to the online game platform, sometimes they don't know who they are talking to. The internet is limitless, so they can simply talk to someone, not just from Indonesia, but also from different part of the world. And it's difficult to them to know whether or not those people who they want to speak to them are genuinely want to befriend. So online grooming is one of the example of child sexual exploitation online that is quite high, especially in Indonesia. The next one, we have sexual extortion, or coercing a victim into producing sexually explicit image or video through threats, gift, and manipulation. It's quite similar with the grooming. A sexting is basically sharing explicit image or video over text. We know that although there is a age limitation in terms of kids using an online dating platform, but the fact is those platforms do not really have an authentication method to be able to ensure whether or not those users are really someone who are above 18 years old. Simply, they can just tweak it by saying that they are 18 years old. So sexting is quite common, is now almost every single young people or teenagers are well aware about online dating platform. You can name it. People like to meet someone online, and then it also makes them feel a challenge and make them feel excited to meet someone online, especially if the persons are coming from different part of the world. The conversations are really broad. So when they are meeting people, we in Indonesia have an Eastern culture, and people who are from Western culture have a different perspective about sharing content or sharing photos or what they can actually ask you online. Now, there are a lot of young people who are especially teenagers who claim that they've been receiving a lot of pornographic content, a lot of content that is not appropriate for a children to be consumed. So, and sexting is actually quite large numbers of CSE, or child sexual exploitations. We're gonna use this term a lot during these presentations. And then the next one is basically child sexual abuse material collection, distributing, sharing, and productions. Normally, CSM for child sexual abuse material is any photos or videos of child that engage or depicted as being engaged in explicit sexual activity. And this also quite related to the live streaming. Live streaming is not entirely made by children. Usually, live streaming is done by someone who are quite close to the children. It could be one from their family or the friends who are a little bit older. And with the compensations of giving a money or a gift to the person, they want to request for a child sexual abuse content. So the child is actually being a victim in here without they knowing, without they even realizing. So what happened to this video? Usually this video, it's being sold on dark web and being circulated to a community that has abnormal sex orientations. So live streaming usually happening in the country who has quite below in terms of the poverty. So they want money and they want to sell the video of the kids. And this is quite happening a lot in developing country. The last one is a self-generated content. So it's a self-generated content that normally happening as well. It's quite similar with the live streaming and CSM. Now, we moving to the online race. I think we understand that there is a lot of things that could happen on social media, on the internet. And harmful outcomes depend on the nature of the risk, whether it is more probable or more severe in its consequences. And on the design, the regulation, the management of the digital environment, it could be the privacy setting, moderation services, access to helpline. They also really depend on the child and their circumstances, because what is problematic for one child might not be really for another one. So we have 4+5 C classification that also distinguish between aggressive, sexual, and values risk. So this is a risk, right? So we're going to put this in a table, so it will be helpful in retaining a balanced view of the range of the risks that children actually can encounter during their interaction online or on social media. Now, the first one we're going to discuss in terms of the content risk. So content risk is where a child is exposed to an unwelcome or inappropriate content. So this could be a sexual, this could be pornographic, or even a violent image. And some forms, it could be from the advertising, racism, discriminatory, for example, or probably a website that advocating a very dangerous behavior or unhealthy, to tell the kids to smoke, for example. And this is harmful because it could potentially create an anorexia, eating disorder, and there is any other mental health illnesses as well. And next one, contact risk. So contact risk is whereas a child participates in risk communication, such as, you know, the child can go with an adult seeking an appropriate contact, soliciting a child for sexual purposes, like the one that we discussed in the beginning. It could be harassment, it could be online grooming, and basically trying to persuade the children to take a part in dangerous or pornographic actions or behaviors. So this contact risk, the contact risk is really can be happening everywhere, but majority it's happening from the online game for the children. We know that our children, I think since the age of 6 probably or 7, they already know and very, very good in doing online gaming. So one of the downside of online game is basically the children can meet everyone and anyone without any filter. And sometimes when they're really hyped up of using playing their game, sometimes people actually really use very bad language or very harsh language, and this is a negatively impact to the kids. So then they will understand verbal harassment. They probably will get cyberbullied through the online game, and this could be goes to a different aspect depending on what the perspective of the perpetrators. So next one is the conduct risk. Now, where a children behaves in a way that contribute to risk content or contact, and this may include a children writing or creating a hateful materials about other children, inciting racism, for example, or posting or distributing a sexual image, including material that they have produced themselves. Now, I believe that everyone in here know about a very famous online dating platform, right? If I mention Tinder, if I mention Badu, for example, if I mentioned what else? OkCupid, or Bumble. Is this word that is related to you, or have you ever used that app before? If you have it, just feel free to say yes in chat. And if you're not, feel free to say no as well in the chat. So many of teenagers, many of young people, even started from the age of 10, 11, they have a lot of curiosity. They have curiosity to explore the internet, to trying to get new friends on the internet as well. And especially due to the COVID-19, it's quite sad for the kids. They won't be able to actually hang out with their friends. So they started to look for different alternatives to still being able to communicate with other people. And online platform, which is an online dating platform, it's one of the most used, especially by teenagers, to actually looking for some friends. Simply, they just want to see different friends. They want to meet different friends from different regions, different provinces, and probably different countries as well. But in this aspect, cyberbullying issues, trolling, exclusions, shaming, is a lot of things that are also happening on the dating platform. There is hurting the teenagers of the young people. So what happened when someone getting mocked by the way how you look, by the way how you put your makeup on, by the way how your face looks like, this harming the children in a very different way. Starting normally, they will feel ashamed. They will feel not very confident about themselves. And it will affecting to their mental health in a general. They probably don't feel like they want to eat. If someone being mocked by being fat, they don't really feel like they want to eat anymore. And they will then have an eating disorder. Someone with having eating disorder, it has a major impact to their physical illness, especially in terms of someone who have stress, anxiety, a lot of this, they started to develop a headache, develop an insomnia, develop the issues of having a stomach ache. And this is why the link of having a physical pain is actually correlated strongly with the mental health illness. But the trigger, it could be different things, right? So if you see in the whole aspect in here, the stress that experiencing by the children, or the anxiety that they experience by the children, it's not necessarily because they feel stress in general, but because they were being cyberbullied online, or they were being harassed online because someone said to the person that you're not beautiful enough, you're not pretty enough. Then they have a the self-confident issues that really harming to the kids, especially for those people who not being able to share this to someone, and they're not really have a good relations with their parents. So sometimes kids actually keep everything by themselves. So the moment when they're not being able to understand what is happening to them, sometimes it's actually hurts more to the children. Now, the next C that we're going to discuss in here is a contract. Now, this might sounds really weird. Why is contract then? Contract sounds really a finance terminology. So this contract risk arise when the child accepts, including unintentionally, involuntarily, or unknowingly, the terms of service. So how many of you, I think we see so many websites, and there is a pop-up button and says like it's a cookies, and you just basically have to click on that, and you just need to click yes. So and that's happening a lot as well when you are downloading a new app, or when you are logging in or sign up on the new website. So the terms of service or terms of conditions of commercial provider of digital products and service, and normally the child is exploited by potential harmful contract, or could be commercial interest by, for example, age inappropriate marketing. So if you get a pop-up of a website that probably selling toys for adults, right? So it could be you'll be then receiving age inappropriate marketing after that, because you sign up for their website and you click OK to receive email marketing from them. Or it could be mediated by the automated algorithmic processing of data. So this contract risk is quite linked to insecure digital services that leave the child open to identity theft, could be fraud, could be scams, and also include contract made between other party, could be involving a streaming child sexual abuse or even trafficking. Okay, the last C that we're going to discuss in here is the cross-cutting. So the one in here, below here, okay? So the cross-cutting, again, this arises because of the complexity of digital ecology, and also because risks are interrelated, so they can affect multiple dimensions of a child experience. The effect of a children's health, it could be health risk linked to the excessive screen use. So there is also a privacy risk experienced by children online, and many of which arise from the data processing. So it could be privacy violations, there's a physical and mental health risk in here, and there is inequalities of discrimination as well. So then we have the broad understanding about a different type of risk, right? It could be contract, it could be cross-cutting risk, it could be conduct risk, it could be content, because you are receiving the content. You don't choose the content that you receive. So the algorithm, if you are on TikTok or Instagram, if you are keep looking for something about sadness, so it means more and more contents about sadness is going to pop up on your feed, and you don't choose that content. Now imagine if you feel bad about your day, and then you actually meant to go online that you want to feel happy, but turn out whatever that you see online is actually a sad post. So this is one of the risks that you have from the social media or internet. Back into the contact risk is the way how you can meet anyone from online that you don't have any filter. Basically, if you have a profile on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, or any other social media, they can simply DM you, they can simply message you, they can simply leave you a comment. Then you cannot control those comments and how it's basically affecting you, right? Now, if you see the age range in here, so from 1 to 4, we're going to see the popular activities that they are actually doing on social media. And what is exactly the main risk by having those activities online? So if you have cousins, if you have niece, if you have nephew between the age of 1 year to 4 years old, normally their activities are listening to the music, watching YouTube videos, and probably random access to website, right? So what is the main risk of this? Whatever they look at is, it could be received at a face value, right? Because they don't really have a guideline to teaching the kids. Whatever they're listening, whatever that they see, they might think that is actually truth, might think it's actually the right one. With the age range from 5 to 7, the popular activities of this age, normally they use a smartphone or a laptop to play online game. And these activities have also a risk for the kids that could be being targeted for pornographic content, that their data could be leaks, they could be a target of online marketers. Because, you know, sometimes when you click on online game, or if you download any new game online on your phone, they have a pop-up, right? And those pop-up button, it's normally an ads really depending on the games that you are playing. Some of the games is actually very harsh, that not supposed to be played for children, because there is a lot of you know, it's a war game, it's killing people and stuff like that. So the online pop-up or the pop-up blogs is also display is also sometimes related to something that is only can be consumed by adults. Now let's look at the age range between 8 to 10. So 8 to 10 years old, probably in class 3, class 5, or class 3, 4, and 5 in Indonesia, an elementary school. So this kid normally playing online game. They normally using WhatsApp or any instant messenger, and then browsing internet. So they could type anything on the Google browser or any other browsers, and they will be started to have an exposed to meet someone online and could potentially to experience online grooming. In the age of 11 to 13, so this is normally we call it as a teenagers, adolescents. They are more handy of using online or internet. So sometimes they are browsing and they are using instant messenger, playing games, sending email, because they're already in the age that now they start receiving a lot of homework to do things online as well, and they are the one who quite active on using a social media platform. So social media platform, the age limitation is actually on 13 years old for Instagram, TikTok. So within this age, they're the one who basically like to dance on a TikTok and share their selfie on Instagram. And what are the main risks of this group of age? It could be potentially become victims of sexual predators, because they can literally meet anyone and everyone online. They could probably seen something that's not supposed to be seen by them. It could be illegal content related to drugs. It could be marijuana. It could be pornography. And then the 15 to 18 years old, they are doing extensively the use of social media and any internet activities. As I mentioned earlier as well, they're also the one that is quite active to look for new friends and connections on online dating platforms. So they are the one that is quite danger and having huge risk to receive a sexual content, seeing pornographic content, being asked for their nude pictures, and even end up to be a blackmail victims. Right?
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
Your time left 10 minutes again.
Okay. So we got only 10 minutes.
Yes.
I think I'm just gonna go through what is the impact in here. Just gonna talk a little bit in here why and in Indonesia data. So this is data from ACPAD. They survey 1,203 responded and 287 kids mentions that they've been receiving unpolite chats, disturbing pictures, videos, receive photos, pornographic, invited to do live streaming, experienced doxing, and even sexual content and porn site. So this is what happened very recently when the COVID-19 lockdown. And when we asked them, so after you experiencing that, does the child tell what happened? But majority of them say no. And some of them say yes. Some of them prefer not to share. And some of them didn't even answer the question. So this is quite interesting. And why do they don't say no, right? I mean, if we go back and questioning why this is actually happening to our children, why they are being a victim of a lot of online harassment and cyber sexual exploitation, because it's a growing complexity on tech. and there is also an increased criminalization on the internet, but lack of understanding on the harms that posed to the children by the new technology. There's also lack of expertise and capacity of the investigations on the police on the police agency in the country towards this kind of crimes, and lack of surveillance from the parents. The parents have a lack of digital literacy skills. They just give the devices without any surveillance, and probably teachers too. So it is important for children actually to always be surveillance in no matter ages they have. So those are the sexual exploitation and cyber harassment have a terrific psychological impact on the victims. We're just gonna go through. And this is normally why, because usually because of the family's lack of family support, as we discussed. We have one case at Bully Indonesia when there is a children, they tell us about what happened to them, but they mentions, when I say it to my dad actually blamed me. Why did I do online? Why did I share my photos online to someone? So it's also could be because of our police agency has a lack of understanding and sensitivity around this area. So it's very important for the legal enforcement in the country to be trained to deal with the children. So when we observe what happened on the case that we receive at Bully Indonesia, there's quite a lot. Majority of the children, they prefer to stay in silence because they don't want things get worse. But when you are being silenced, there is a continuation of the abuse because the perpetrators feel that they are on top of the law and they were not going to get persecuted. So they will keep harassing, they will keep blackmailing, and they will keep abusing the children. In the contrary, when they started to open up, they will feel shame, they will feel being isolated, they will feel depressed, and sometimes children also feeling suicidal because when they speak to their friends, or probably they speak to the parents, it's not completely the way how they see it as a normal. So this is what happening normally to the children when they started to share their stories. They feel shame, they feel self-blame. You know, this is, I quoted one of a real basically testimonial that we got from the one of the victim. She feels ashamed because she was sharing the video sex with she had a video sex with a stranger, and she do realize that it was a shame, and basically she felt guilt. And in that stage of self-blaming, normally children needs to be able to get psychological support in a quite a long run. So what happened to them, they could have feel betrayed because they meet someone online, they thought they can trust the person, they thought they love the person, but the person actually betrayed them, and then sharing their nude pictures, the video sex online without the victim consent. And then the psychological aspect in here, obviously in anger, could lead to the suicidal because the videos can really be seen for everyone. Social media has no boundaries. And what happened if your family, your friends, your teachers actually see your video or your nude pictures online? It's not going to be just a guilt by individual, but also it's a guilt from the family, from the schools. So really be careful of what you share online, and better not be sharing anything intimate or nude pictures online. Okay. And lastly, I think let's just go to what happened then, right? So how we can help. When we ask the survey, majority of the children, they feel more comfortable to speak with their friends. And then they will speak, this is the first one. And then some of them, they speak comfortably with their parents. And last one, they will then tell to the teachers. So what we can do in here, basically by helping the children to be able to disclose, tell the children that they are being the victim, they're not the one who are a perpetrator. So they will make them comfortable to feel that they can speak up to you and tell the story. And next one is support the following revelation of the online abuse. So instead of judging and asking questions that could humiliate the children when they open up to you, instead you ask them how do they feel about that and how they want it to be this case moving forward in the future. So we figure out how basically we can improve the way how we can support the victims and survivors, obviously by improving digital literacy. This is fundamentally important as we see a lot of young people, a lot of children, they don't really know the basic knowledge about how to communicate online with people. They might know and understand how to use social media, but they don't have an understanding what is do's and don'ts on social media. So digital literacy is number one. Secondly, institutions, school, you have a huge role in terms of decreasing the numbers of child sexual exploitation online. So provide a platform for the kids to be able to speak up and to report. So if the friends know about this, but obviously sometimes friends have no idea how to help the friend. So they can report this and hopefully the teacher, the lecturer can also help the victim together. We need to lift them up, we need to support them and strengthen the policy. So your university, your school need to have a strong policy that we help the victim and then we against any type of harassment towards child or young people. So at Bullet, we actually created a platform that can help the institutions to reduce the numbers of child sexual exploitation and abuse. And if you know anyone that probably experiencing something like this, where can I actually get help? There is a psychology free, but it's not entirely free, but you can access himsi.org.id or ipkindonesia.org.id to get help from psychologists in Indonesia. You can also, basically go to our website to get help in terms of psychological and legal support. We can also help you to remove the content online as well, as long as the platform is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So we're not in the capacity yet to help content that distributed outside those platforms. And next one, you can also WhatsApp TEPSA. So TEPSA is from the social ministry. And last one is the Ministry of Children Protection and Women Empowerment. You can also call SAPA 129 from your phone and or WhatsApp Kemen PPA. Okay. So I think lastly, why it's also very much important for us to remember there is a huge strength and link between physical pain and mental health, and you as a future health practitioner, it's important for you to be able to assist your patients, especially for the children, because they're not being able to properly mention what is happening to them. Their illness, their physical pain could be triggered by something bigger than what is their physical pain that currently experiencing. So I think that's all from me, and I'm happy to take a question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Madam. Give applause for Madam Agita for the great presentation. Thank you, Madam. I also nice to see your presentation. Before we discussion section, may I give some conclusion? Is it never mind, Madam? I give some conclusion that from presentation from Madam Agita, I read my conclusion that child exploitation online and really so much impact on mental health, especially for our child. And that is it grooming, sexual exploitation, sexting, and this is will get from video, photo, live streaming, self-generate content. and so many psychology impact on victim from CSA online. So we must give family support, parent and from friend and teacher too. Okay, this conversation I read from presentation of Madam Agita. Before we in discussion section, I give one section for question. In Aula, I choose from Yusra, give question from Madam Agita.
Thank you for the time for me. Good day, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Yusra Alkomaria. I want to ask, how do we as parents or adults expect to see a mental breakdown in children resulting from online sexual exploitation? Thank you. I give back to moderator.
Okay, are you can explain for your question once more? Open your mask, please.
How do we as parents or adults expect to see a mental breakdown in children resulting from online sexual exploitation?
Okay, Madam Agita, we will give more than one question, maybe some 2 or 3 questions. We will collect first, then answer. Is it never mind for Madam? Okay, maybe question second from Sir Eddie. Sir Eddie, time is yours for give question from Madam Agita.
Okay, thank you, Madam Agita, for nice presentation. And I think the issue, this is the hot issue in otherwise in the world, include in Indonesia, because many children in Indonesia use the gadget and also use social media. But we know that there is the two impact, positive and negative impact. And negative impact, you have said and explained, like sex exploitation and etc. But we know that many achievement of the children in Indonesia in use the gadget or social media, like some of them get achieved in the games and make the online games. And I think is the positive impact. So how about the policy of the government to increase the positive impact and to decrease the negative impact? Thank you.
Are you understand, Madam? For the question from Sir Eddie. Okay. The last question from Zoom, from Bachelor Midwife, namely Rose Zuraida. I will give the question. How to gentle us to our child question to get them talking about their friends and their social situation, and what are some warning signs that a children is being bullied? Thank you, Madam. We have 3 questions. Maybe the last question from me. Are you okay, Madam? Okay. And now I give you time for answer the question. Okay, Madam. Time is yours. Unmute, Madam. We can't hear your voice.
Okay, thank you. So those are very great questions. Thank you very much. And I think let's go for the first one. Asking related to, if I'm not mistaken, the question was basically, how do we tell our parents if we've seen or if we experience a child's exploitation online, and how do we basically tell to the parents, and how or in a way how we can properly mention to the parents. Am I correct?
Yes, madam.
Okay, right. So this is obviously not an easy way to mention about to your parents. It really depends on what is happening and how the situation between your relationship between you as a child and your parents. We know that some of the parents, I mean, you know your mother, you know your father, you understand how they react on something. So we really need to find the perfect time to speak. We really need to find the timing, right? And it's also, again, back to the conversation that we have with our parents. And I think it is important for you being the children that we can simply mention everything that we are experiencing, because in the end of the day, they're our parents, that they're the one who will be helping us along the way, and hopefully being able as well to guide us properly. So I think if we're gonna put it as a scenario, I think you can ask your mom, hey mom, hi dad, do you have a minute? I would like to tell you something that I experienced online. But if I'm telling you this, I would like you to be open-minded. I would like you not to judge me in a way, and I would like you to help me because I need help on how to solve this issue. So it is important for us to be able to communicate this properly to our parents. And in the parent side is also, and I think this is also the answer for the question number 3. And for the parent side, your responsibility is actually even higher, right? The parents, we know that there's so much on social media, internet, technology going on. You may not probably understand how to use some of the social media or online platform that your kids actually very expert of using it. So I think the key thing is quite cliche, but digital literacy is very important. As a parents, as a teachers, we need to educate ourselves, because the children meant to be in surveillance in every single time. We know that we understand probably when they're a baby, we surveil, we provide them with a lot of protections, but sometimes we forget that when the kids is growing up, they also need a time for you to have a checking in with you, what is happening, and who is actually the person that you talk online. So building a relationship with your children is important, because children is not going to say something immediately when you ask them just out of nowhere. You have to have a relationship. You have to build that relationship with the children in the first place. You need to just ask the questions that's not intentionally saying that who you are talking to online, but ask the questions that how is it type of people that you met online, what kind of conversations you with your friends online that you having. Ask them about to trigger them to share things to you instead of judging them. So I think that's quite important. And secondly, the sign. So sign of child sexual exploitation, it could be really different from children to children, because everyone is obviously different. Some of the children, they started to have they started to feel being isolated. They are afraid whenever they actually see their phone ringing or their phone beeping. They start to feel that, normally you keep your phone like this, and they probably keep it down all the time. They don't want anyone to see it. It could be one of the signs that are quite obvious. Another thing, they will feel very sensitive about everything. So again, really, every children is different, but what is important is to be able to understand your children better and have a conversation, an open up conversation with the children. So I hope that answer. And the second question, I think this is very important. We do understand that social media is, or internet, online game now is a gateway of access of information, a gateway of having probably financial freedom as well, of getting money or being successful gamers. And that's completely true. But I think one of the major issues that we're having in here is children meant to be surveillance at every moment. And what is important is to be able to have a multi-stakeholder partnership. The private sector, the gaming industry, their perspective is being able to have users, gamers, to play game all the time, to spend as much of their money to perfecting the skins. They pay money for doing this. They pay money for doing on online game and be good at it. So their idea is basically to keep us to stay as long as we can on their platform. But in the other hand, if you as parents, if you're a lecturer, you want to have balance with your kids. You want the kids also have time to do a physical activity. You want the kids also do something at work. You want to do the homework, for example. And I think to find a perfect balance and have a multi-stakeholder partnership, Indonesia has already have our child protections regulation. We have Undang-Undang Perlindungan Anak, right? So the child online protection basically already being regulated in the country. Pornographic online is also already regulated in the country. What it is lacking, however, is the partnership between the private sector, all the company that has an online game, with the government. So if we want to find the perfect balance by still promoting, and if our kids is actually passionate about gaming and then want to be the best game, we should be able to find them a perfect balance and how they can focus. So the same thing like treating an athlete. Athlete also have time to study, athlete also have time to do their exercise. And if we adopt this and the way how China did, and rumors later will do as well in Singapore, a China government is actually prohibit of using an online game or playing game for more than a certain hours. So I think this is also quite excellent way if we can adapt this in Indonesian culture. And I think in many ways there is a positive way, but there's also a negative way about social media and consuming online game excessively. I hope that answer.
Okay, thank you, Madam, for the great answer. And now I think it is clear for all the question. And now, do you mind, Madam, if one question give from Savannah
Yeah, sure.
Lao from Laos?
Yes, please.
Okay. To Madam Kang Fang Han. Please active your video and please ask for Madam. Do you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me clearly?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Ms. Akita, for your interactive presentations. It can extremely contribute to our society, I think. And however, far as I understand, there are both advantage and disadvantage of using internet. So my question is, I think the more children spending time online, the more chances they got abused. So do we need to completely prohibit them from online, or we have to limit their time spending on internet? And my second question is, what is the proper age for children to go online? Yes, that's all for my question. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Philip from the Laos. So for the first question, I think in terms of the, we are here not to against social media platform or internet, right? We love the usage of technology. Technology advancement has given us tremendous positive aspect in terms of many things. Children now being able to learn anywhere and anytime they want it, and is a great tool because language barrier is no longer an issue because even Zoom right now have a translations feature. So I think technology advancement is really amazing, especially in the education. There is also a lot of startup focusing on ad tech. This also mentions that on top of the positivity is also boosting the economy of the country. So in a sense of that, we're not saying that we against it and then completely limit our children or our young people not by using an internet at all. But I think the appropriate way to put it is basically to balance and to always ensure that they have the capacity to understand about digital literacy, right? Misconception about digital literacy that we have is literacy on using the social media and literacy on an understanding about coding and programming. But digital literacy is way beyond that. So there is a digital ethic on how to communicate and being able to respect someone online. So digital ethics is something that is currently lacking in the current discussions, even between the government level, that it is hopefully could be a fundamental aspect. So I'm not sure, maybe you can share in Laos, but in Indonesia, we don't even have a comprehensive sexual education that embedded at school. And this is one of the lacking, because without having understanding about sexual education, when our children goes online, they will then have tremendous amount of contents that could lead them to pornographic content, and learning about sexual arousal and understanding about their sexual through online, that could be from unreliable resources. And that will lead to our children to have unbiased, very biased perspective about sexual, about pornography, that they think it is right. Just to give you an idea, we had someone, the parents basically report to us. The mother have a 9-year-old child. She met someone online. Apparently the person tell to the child that he was 12 years old. Apparently he was actually 42 years. She then mentioned to her mother, what is wrong of me taking off my clothes and sending it to someone? Because I feel comfortable, he is my friend. So you see the gap in here. So understanding about child sexual education embedded in literacy, it is beyond just the ability of us to boost digital literacy in terms of using the internet or social media or any other technology advancement. So ethics and to educate our children, our young people, how to use properly and how to be wise on social media is also highly important. And goes to your second question, the best age. So this is quite biased. I'm a bit quite biased because there's not so many research about this. Some of the and it also goes to the culture of different country. But I can grab for one of the research that's that done in the US. The mentions is on 13 years old. So 13 years old is also the age that majority of a social media platform actually using it. Say Instagram, TikTok, their minimum age, you have to be 13 years old. That's with the highlight of 13 years old in the US. Those kids, they already have an understanding about comprehensive sexual education, right? So, but still, child pornography is still happening everywhere, even in the UK or in the US. So surveillance for our children from the guardians, from parents, from sisters, and from lecturers is highly, highly important.
And thank you so much, Ms. Akita, for your clarifying. And yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kang Panghan from Savannah Cat Lao for the question, and thank you for the Madam Agita for the answer that give for Mr. Kang Panghan. And now, finally, the session is finished. Give applause for Madam Agita once again. Thank you, Madam. Thank you for the great presentation that given for us in this afternoon. Maybe next time we will meet in another webinar or maybe in offline in Stikes Mitra Husada Medan. Thank you, Madam. And now I will give this forum for Master of Ceremony.
Thank you very much to moderate. Well, we are entered to the next agenda, that is giving the certificate as a keynote speaker to Madam Agita Pasaribu SHMA, to Madam Dr. Siti Nurmawan Sinaga SKM MKes. Time is yours. Give him applause. And then giving the certificate to the moderator, to Madam Eka Valentina Tarigan. Time is yours. Well, that is all of our presentation in a keynote speaker for today. We are entered to the next presentation from the panel presentation. The panel presentation, the first is Miss Asnita Sinaga SCAP BD MTR CAP. To Miss Asnita Sinaga, are you in our Zoom meeting, Miss? Please mute your phone, Miss.
Okay, I mute. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss. And then the next panel presentation, Miss Camelia Sinaga SCAP BD MKM. Are you there, Miss? Please active your video, Miss, please. Once again, Miss Camelia Sinaga SCAP BD MKM. Okay, and the last panel presentation, Miss Petra Diansari SCAP Nurse MCAP. Are you there, Miss? Yes, thank you, Miss. And then the panel presentation will moderate by Miss Anna. To Miss Anna, time is yours.
Thank you for the main moderator. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, now before we start our panel session, let me introduce myself. My name is Ana Waris Nenggolan, SSTMKM. I am as a moderator for panel session. Okay, the first speaker is Miss Asnita Escape BDM Terkep. I will read the CV. Asnita Sinaga Escape BDMK MTRCAP. She is graduate from Magister Terapan Kebidanan from Stikes Guna Bangsa Yogyakarta. With the title in the session is Stunting Prevention and Malnutrition Prevention Strategies. To Miss Asnita Sinaga, I give time for you 30 minutes, 20 minutes for presentation, and 10 minutes for question and answer. Okay, now for Miss Asnita Sinaga, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for giving me to moderator. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon, student in Aula. I thank audience who have been present in Zoom. And also the Husada Partner High School of Health Science for allowing me to provide some material. The material I bring about health trend in children is about stunting. Currently, we see the stunting is the world health problem this foreign remarks considered. Okay, let's talk about stunting. Okay, the data I got on UNICEF World Health Organization, there are nutritional difference between Asia and Africa. For example, in the year 2019, it was found that age of 5 years children was 50%, and in Africa there were 40% of form of malnutrition. In conclusion, from the data above, the most problematic form of malnutrition are Asia and Africa, which are highlighted by UNICEF and World Health Organization. Next slide.
Miss Asnita, your voice is not here in here. Miss Asnita.
Okay, sorry. This data, the word depicted in geography and amount. Let's see the picture in the slide. The continent with the highest incidence of malnutrition from the data above is the image from the continent of Asia and Africa. We also see that Indonesia is also included in the high malnutrition. Next slide. Okay, global overview of income classification in the world. We see in the data that lower in income of the group, the higher in incidence of stunting. The higher the food intake, the lower in stunting rate. For example, at low income 2019, there are 30.4% stunting rates. And on high income, there are 2.8% year 2019. Next slide. The cause and of stunting. Okay, context and cause of stunting. The first, political policy, economic, and then food security, and then education, family income, and then lack of family food availability for personal and environmental hygiene behavior, and then lack of nutrition and consumption behavior, and then lack of practical knowledge about hygiene, health, and nutrition. And then assumptive culture and norms, lack of quality health service, good and then not good improvement. And then lack of nutritional intake, and then poor infection status to be stunting. Many people in Indonesia do not know about the stunting. It is really or really underestimate this stunting even though if it's not handled properly, it will be fatal to the child. Okay, next. The poverty rate and stunting prevalence in Indonesia are still very high. Although the poverty rate tends to decrease, Indonesia is still faced with a high prevalence of stunting. People experiencing a very high decline. 2018, the prevalence of stunting in Indonesia tended to fluctuate within 2007 to 2013. Next. Okay, stunting prevalence by province in Indonesia. The highest incidence for stunting in Indonesia is in the province of East Nusa Tenggara and West Sulawesi, and then Aceh at 51.7%. Let's see to my present that this can be due to food which very difficult to obtain. Next. Next slide, please. Okay, stunting effect. The effect stunting are poor family with limited access to basic service, give birth, and raise children with stunting condition. And children are stunned the physical and intellectual development and have poor performance in school. So stunting is mainly caused by the lack of nutritional intake. The children get the 1,000 first day of life. So to mother have babies at this time to meet physiological and physiological need to the stunting can be prevented. Okay. The handling has carried about by the Indonesia government by raising awareness and implementing two programs to have been made. The first, nutrition supplementation, promotion of breastfeeding, complementary feeding, fortification, nutrition education, balanced nutrition promotion and campaigns, warm nutrition management. Clean water and sanitation, development of salt iodization, salt fortification monitoring. And then for safety fortified for monitoring, and then break and ground course, health and nutrition education, boarding school, encouraging enroll school in nutrition and health. And then regional incentive fund, and then powered with health, nutrition, intervention, reproductive health education, and then food security and utilization the household year, and then non-cash food aid or PKH, and then adolescent reproductive health education atau or BKB, and then birth certificate facilitation of nutrition program and activity and APBD. Next. Okay, let's see my paper in presentation. There is research that is have done and my friends in the same profession as a lecturer, which is about the influence of the nutritional status of pregnant woman and economic status and the length of the baby birth weight and the incidence of stunting in Langkat Regency, North Sumatra in 2019. The results of study are their influence of the nutritional status of pregnant women on body weight and the incidence of stunting, and the health office there has tried to reduce the incidence of stunting. Okay, next. The following is geographic stunting area in Langkat Regency. It looks like the 10 villages experiencing stunting in Langkat Haru, 5 stunting village, and then Langkat Hulu, 1 stunting village, and then Langkat Hilir, 4 stunting village. And the local government has made efforts to reduce stunting rates, such Posyandu, providing additional food for babies who are stunted. Next. In the yellow line, and stable for the Langkat district, the stunting rate is indeed the highest in Langkat with 50.9. Why? Due to poor nutrition in economic factor, are also trigger for stunting. Okay, next. Okay. Intervention given especially to health sector, especially in the first 1,000 days of the child life. The first specific nutritional intervention during the period of the, if there is health problem, it will have permanent impact on the child. The first, giving blood supplementary tablet and vitamin A supplement for pregnant women. The second, exclusive breastfeeding promotion. Third, complementary feeding, and then fourth, supplementary feeding, and then fifth, basic immunization. And the second, sensitive nutrition intervention is sensitive nutrition intervention include food security, availability of clean water and sanitation, poverty alleviation, education, and then social service, and so on. Contributing 70% will intervention in the health sector alone, only contribution 13% in stunting management. Next. Okay, thank you. I want to say message to all audience in Zoom or in Aula. Let us as people who have knowledge and education, especially health, continue to support or be directly involved in dealing with the health crisis in the world and lives and our own family. That us from me, thank you. God always bless all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Give applause to Miss Asnita Sinaga. Okay, thank you, Miss Asnita. To question and answer, we keep at the moment we start to Mrs. Camelia Sinaga to presentasi his materi. But the first I will read the CV. Miss Asnita, Miss Camelia.
Oke, terima kasih. Thank you.
Wait the moment, Miss Camelia, I read your CV the first. Okay. Camelia Sinaga, escape BDMKM. She's graduate from Magister Kesehatan Masyarakat from Universitas Sumatera Utara 2019. And she is a lecturer at Stikes Mitra Husada Medan. Okay, for Miss Camelia Sinaga, I give your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Camelia Sinaga from Stikes Mitra Husada Medan in Indonesia. The role of midwife in overcoming nutritional problems that have an impact on stunting. Stunting is a serious global problem. It is currently limited that it has more than 116 million children under 5 women, and if not handled properly, it is estimated that by 2025, there will be an additional 127 million stunted children in the world. In Indonesian, stunting it is a health problem in which a large number based on the result of the study on the nutritional status of Indonesia. To those in 2020, the prevalence of stunting in Indonesia it is to 27.6%. The stunting rate in Indonesia is currently still relatively high. For the role of health works set as midwife and very important in meeting the first 1,000 days of life on MIHHICo golden eggs in order to save mother and children and can determine the nation picker to prevent mistake in preventing. Let's look at the picture about prevention of stunting in children and start from the planning period to of pregnancy. Children experience growth problems. Signs in the mom will be it. Rise of stunting, a hard pregnancy is where the nutritional needs of the mother may be met during pregnancy. Example, protein, calcium, iron. Then we get hurt babies to avoid stunting. Hurt babies start with family planning and pregnancy. Cause of stunting. 1. Lack of knowledge of mother about health before nutrition and during pregnancy. 2. Lack of access to nutrition. For it is because nutrition food in the Indonesian is expensive. 3. Limited need service including and NC or antenatal care service, health service for mothers during pregnancy, and antenatal and real start to learning. 4. Lack of access to clean water and sanitation. Data national stunting prevalence figure 2019 until 2020. Data 2018, 30.8%. 2019, 27.6%. 2020, 26.9%. 2021, 24.4%. Nutrition-related pregnancy complication. 1. Chronic lack of energy. Protein plus micronutrition, zinc, and iron. 2. Cord infection, mother to weeks. 3. Anemia. 4. Bleeding. 5. Hypertension, eclampsia. Stunting in children can affect him from childhood to adulthood. In the short, the stunting in children causes disruption of brain development by metabolism and physical growth and first gland the body. Proportion of stunted children may look normal. However, in fact, the is shorter than other children is age. As children get older, stunting can cause various problems including 1. Children intelligence is below average, so their learning activity cannot be maximally. The children's immune system is not good, so their child gets sick easily. 3. Children will at higher risk of suffering from diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and cancer. Can you look is the picture? Nutrition and mineral needs for pregnant woman. Total nutrition need by pregnancy woman 2,115.8 gram. Stunting prevention need nutritional need science pregnancy. 2. Exclusive breastfeeding until the baby is 6 months old. Oncoming exclusive breastfeeding with hard MPHC for continue to monitor child growth. 5. Always keep the environment clean. 6. Vaccination to that children don't get is active. Thank you.
Thank you for Mrs. Camelia Sinaga. Now we start to the third presentasi of Miss Petra Diansari, Escape Nurse MCAP. Miss Petra Diansari, Zega, Escape Nurse MCAP. She is graduate from Faculty of Nursing, University Sumatera Utara at 1999 for until 20,000. Okay, for Miss Petra Diansari, Escape Nurse MCAP, time is yours.
Thank you, Moderator. This is the first time for me to be a speaker in international webinar. Thank you, Stikas Mitra Husada. Ladies and gentlemen, in Zoom meeting and YouTube, I would like to present my presentation about the development of instrument of diabetic foot wound assessment for nurse. Can see my PowerPoint? Yes. Okay. Diabetes is a familiar disease to us because it's a chronic disease with characterized hyperglycemia. According to it all, diabetes is a worldwide problem with rapidly growing prevalence rate. If we see the data from World Health Organization, estimate diabetes 422 million adults were living with diabetes. And then when we see data from International Diabetes Federation, 2019, the estimate prevalence of diabetes type 1 and type 2 in people aged 20 until 79 has risen from 151 million to 463 million. Without action, International Diabetes Federation predict 578 million people will have diabetes in 2030, and will jump to 7 million by 2045. This is according Mariam et al. Foot ulcer is one complication of diabetes mellitus, and the result of research from Zheng et al. In 2017, diabetic foot ulcer prevalence was 6.3%, higher in males, higher in type 2 diabetes patient, and North America had highest prevalence, and the prevalence in Asia, Europe, and Africa were 5.5%. We can see in Indonesia, the prevalence of risk factor for diabetic foot ulcer in Indonesia was 50.4%, and the prevalence of diabetic foot ulcer was 12%. The result of research Marisa and Ramadan show that the incidence of recurrent diabetic ulcer to patient was 28 people from 57 respondents. So when diabetic foot ulcer could be cared properly, it can increase prevalence amputation. So we need wound assessment, because wound assessment is the basic to determine wound care and therapy. Wound assessment is the core of wound management. Accurate identification is very important to nurse, improving patient outcomes and reducing cost of care. Wound assessment has been made to assist nurse to monitoring status and healing progress of diabetic foot ulcer. There are many tools wound of diabetic foot patient, such as Bethes-Jensen, Wagner scale, PEDIS, Wagner-Magid, Manx, diabetic foot ulcer assessment scale. But I'm interested to make wound scale, wound tools with action research. So the four process to make the tools, they are reconnaissance, planning, acting, and observing And the last, reflecting. Okay, we can see the picture in stage reconnaissance. I give nurse questionnaire and doing focused group discussion to identify the problem in hospital. And then we make planning. I discuss with nurse manager, chief of nurse, and nurse practitioner to make tools. And then we in stage acting and observing, we I doing socialization, and then we implementation to patient with have diabetic foot ulcer. And the last, reflecting, I doing focus group discussion again. Okay, I will show you my wound assessment tools. One day I will give the name tools Petra wound assessment in the next time. So if we can see, this is instrument of diabetic foot wound assessment for nurse. This is, there are many items we can assess the wound of patient. Okay, that's all for me, and thank you.
Thank you for Miss Petra Diansari, Escape Nurse MCAP. This is the nice presentation. Please give the applause for Miss Petra Diansari, Escape Nurse. Okay. Okay, now we enter to question and answer session. We have collect the question. Miss Asnita and Miss Camelia still join in our Zoom. I read the answer from the column chat from Norma Reza to Miss Asnita. The first, describe on your slide, tell about have the effect from low economic family as a midwife. What are the action carried out about that? Next, from Vira, can stunting be cure or the growth of children with stunting can be back to normal? For Miss Asnita, I give time for you to answer the question.
Okay, thank you for the moderator, Miss Anna. I will answer question from Norma. Tell about have the effect from low economic family as a midwife. What are the action carried about that? Okay, I try. Creating a job fair like making handcraft that are accessible to increase income. Nutrition food does not only come from expensive foods. From the example spinach, spinach contains the high folic acid, vitamin A, vitamin C, and the other content which benefit to fetal growth and development. Okay, thank you. And then question second. Can stunting be cured or the growth of children with stunting can be back to normal? Basically, stunting in this cannot be cured, but can be made efforts to improve nutrition, can improve the quality of this style of this life. If the children they can experience various obstacles in their life until they achieve an adulthood. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for Miss Asnita. Sufira and Reza have understand? Okay, now the time to Mrs. Camelia. I give you the question. The first, can stunting cure or can to the growth of children with stunting return to normal? And then it said that milk is very important to prevent stunting, which is my question. What will the midwife do to a pregnant woman who does not like milk? And why is milk one of the most important parts of stunting prevention? Okay, for Miss Camelia, please answer our question. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you to question. Why do pregnancy women drink to milk? Because in milk contains many substances to fulfill nutrition for pregnant women. For example, there is protein, then calcium and vitamin. So the risk of stunting is very small. And for pregnancy, women who do not like milk can be with other foods such as milk, biscuit, supplement, and provide education to pregnancy women about the importance of drinking milk during pregnancy.
Enough, Mrs. Camelia? Okay, for
Yes.
the student have understanding? Okay, now the third material from Miss Petra Diansari. This is the question for you. One from Miss Adelina Sembiring. I give your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. I want to ask to Ms. Petra about your research is development tools wound, right? Okay, my question is, what is novelty of your research? And then, in your development research action can be applied. Only that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Miss Adelina. And the last question from column chat from Oni Ulima Sinurat. Why you choose action research development your tool? Okay, to Miss Petra Diansari, I give your time.
Okay, thank you, Miss Adele. It's a good question. Okay, I will answer. I will answer your question. Novelty. We develop this tool based on capability, the hospital location, the nurse capability of nurse. So the tools can use in hospital. These tools can applicable in with same hospital which are same type when I research. The type of hospital when I reach is type D. So these tools can apply to hospital with type D.
Okay, for Miss Adelina, have you understanding? Okay. Next, for the second question, Miss Petra.
Okay, why I use action research? So action research is make us opportunity to development of power, reflecting thought, discussion, make decision. Because no action without research, no research without action. When we use action research, we can development something to change the nurse practice and to improve nursing practice in hospital.
Okay, thank you so much for Miss Petra Diansari. At last, we give the applause for Miss Petra Diansari. Okay, thank you so much, Miss. Okay, now. Okay. Okay, I give the time to main moderator.
Well, thank you very much to Miss Anna as a moderator in the last presentation to us. Well, we are entered to the next agenda, that is giving the certificate as a panel presentation. The first to Miss Asnita Sinaga, SKP BD MTR Cap from Stikas Mitra Husada Medan, were given by Madam Marlina SST MKM. Time is yours. I'm sorry, Madam Marliani SST MKM. Time is yours. And the next, giving the certificate to Miss Camelia Sinaga, SKP BD MKM. While waiting, Miss Camelia Sinaga come here. Miss Camelia Sinaga, SKP BD MKM. And then giving the certificate to Miss Asnita Sinaga, SKP BD MTR Cap. And the last, giving the certificate to Miss Petra Diansari, SKP Nurse MCAP from Madam Marliani SST MKM. And then giving the certificate to the moderator, to Miss Ana Waris, SST MKM. Time is yours. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all of our agenda for today. That is opening the second MIHHICO stickers Mitra Husada Medan already done.
And we are, as representative committee for today, apologize if we have made mistake in our words or our service during this agenda. We say thank you for your attention. The last, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good day and peace to all of us.
Tomorrow we will join again. Thank you.